Welcome to New Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arterburn. For 35 years, New Life has been transforming lives one at a time thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
Hello, everybody. It's Becky Brown, and I'm so glad that you have joined us today. I am joined by Dr. Jill Hubbard. Hi, Jill. How are you doing?
Hi, Becky. Good.
And eventually, JJ West will be joining us as well, but we are so grateful to be here and to take your calls today. Many times we get calls from family, it's family situations. And many times it's adults who look back at their we say dysfunctional, but I don't know that there's very many functional families.
Some are more functionally dysfunctional than others.
But it's interesting because parenting and family is like this big movie that kids watch. And, as parents, we're oblivious many times that they're picking up on poor communication habits or rhythms in the family. And, it's interesting because it may not be, a big all-out brawl where there's abuse happening. It could just be detached, that there's no way to really be seen or heard. Jill, how does somebody, how do we know when it is a historical thing? We talk about attachment styles that is causing us not to be able to connect in our current relationships?
Well, I think one of the measures to know, is this something current or is this historical, is when you have a reaction that is more than the situation warrants. So if you are, even in the form of detaching, if you are detaching more than is really necessary for a given situation. So anything that's kind of above and beyond what's happening current, we know is historical. And that, especially too when we're very reactionary, and so we may have a bigger eruption or reaction than something that's current.
Right.
It might be a minor thing that's happened, and we've all seen people who completely overreact. Well, they're reacting to a whole host of things that have happened in their lives, and this has triggered them or reminded them. And in marriage, a lot of times it's because of either the reaction comes from what they have witnessed in their family of origin, or it is the cycle that they're in. JJ, what do you see in couples who are trying to connect, but the healthy communication is elusive? They just don't know how to get there.
Yeah, it's such a great question. And by the way, Jill, I love that response. I talk all the time about every time we have an overreaction to the input, it's because there's a wound there.
Yes.
Right. So when I have a sunburn and someone pats me on the back, I'm like, ow, what are you doing? If I don't have a sunburn and they pat me on the back, I go, oh, hi, how's it going? Right.
Yes.
So my reaction tells me where the wound is. If I have an overreaction, there's a wound there. And so that's what you see so much, to your question, Becky, you see so much in communication with couples is they both have wounds, and they're both reacting to their wound being activated by the other person. They don't know why they're reacting the way that they are. They may not even be aware of the wound that's there because it's been there so long. They think it's just who they are. They think it's just part of their life. And so doing good couples therapy helps you to identify, oh, this wound is from my upbringing, and I don't have to respond that way. If I get healing, I could respond differently.
Right. So many times the reaction then becomes the problem.
Yes.
And then we get away from what the core issue is.
Right.
I tell you, there's a lot to be learned when we get below the surface, and we can help you do that if you come and join us at an intimacy and marriage workshop, or, maybe give us a call. We'll connect you with a therapist in your area who can help you in your marriage and in your connections. And, sometimes our reactions aren't even just with a spouse. It could be that you just feel like you got a sunburn all the time. That was a great illustration, JJ.
I love that, JJ.
My husband was involved with a pornography addiction. He was unfaithful. I called the wedding off. He stepped out on the marriage and ended up having a child.
The Restore Workshop is designed for a woman dealing with a man's sexual addiction issues.
My husband is a recovering sex addict. There were strip clubs, other ladies.
If you've been affected by betrayal, an emotional or physical affair, or pornography, the Restore Workshop will equip you with support and tools to help you through.
Restore has empowered me and has given me the tools to work through my anger, work through my pain, work through my confusion, and help me realize that I am worthy.
Being here and being surrounded by people who get it has given me my power back.
The Restore Workshop is being held online Saturday, June 10th. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE to find out more. That's 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com.
Thank you, Restore. You have changed my life forever.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. We are so glad you joined us. We are going to go to the calls, and we're going to continue to take some calls at 1-800-229-3000. But right now we're going to talk with Jan, who's calling us from Seattle, Washington, listens on the internet. Hi, Jan. How can we help you today?
Hi. Thanks for taking my call. I've called in many times. I'm 88-year-old mother of 9 children, 2 of which have died, and we've lost 6 family members in the last 5 years. So we're in grief mode and ongoing grief, actually, because we aren't speaking to each other. The oldest daughter of the 9 died March the 5th, and we have an upcoming gathering for her on the 30th of April. So I'm looking forward to that, but right now we're not really speaking, and especially 2 of them. And we have one child that has been like the scapegoat in the family his whole life, and so I don't know whether, he's reverting back to 17-year-old or me, but we've always clashed. And I just need to know when it's God and when I'm hearing God and when I'm reacting to some undiscovered trauma in my life. So I want to know what kind of exact counseling I need. They're not.
Oh, man.
Wow.
Jan, you're pretty amazing at 88 that you're still going forward. And I love that spirit. And, you have a huge family. And so there's going to be challenges. But Jill, let's start with you. What can she do to prepare for this?
Too, Jan, because we never stop growing until the day we die. And I have worked with some people in their 80s into their 90s. And I love those clients because and I hear you, and you've got a lot of insight. You've got a lot of life experience. But there are things that happen throughout our lives. And you're right, no matter what age we are, we can tap into all of those old wounds, as we were saying, and things get triggered, and we play them out, and we keep playing them out, and so it's never too late to change those patterns. So I think it's really important that you get in with someone and spend some time reflecting, because Becky, we were just talking about Dave Stoop, but in his book, Finishing Strong, is it Living Well, Finishing Strong? It's what we all want to do, right? So to get in with a therapist someone who is well-versed in attachment theory, someone that will help you reflect on your life and connect the dots. I think that would be an important place to start.
And, along that same line, Jan, and I'll let JJ answer in 1 second, but I was just thinking with so many people, I think it may be instead of waiting until the 30th when you're all together, maybe find some time up until then to connect with the individual people, not to settle the score, but just to connect. Because many times that's, when we wait and we're thinking about what's going to happen and, we've got these patterns in place in families, it can just revert to the same thing. But let's hear what JJ.
Let me just interject real quick. And everybody is grieving here. right?
Yes.
Right.
And it's so often you see families where everybody goes to their own corner and grieves alone. And so it is important. I like that, Becky, to be connecting.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm
my
the
question. Go ahead, Jan.
common denominator here, though. They get along with each other well. They don't get along with me. And
Okay.
I
So when you said we're not talking, you're saying that your children are not talking with you.
yes.
Are you aware of
Talking-
why? Have
They're
they given you a
talking
reason?
about- Well, just because they don't like anything that I think, say, or do, and they're very outspoken to me about that. But it seems like I see what they're saying, but they don't see what I'm saying. So I just got to deal with me right now, take care of what I need to do. So I'm looking for, do I need to really uncover something that causes me, a parent wound, or I know they have a father wound, and apparently they have an ongoing mother wound. So they're not interested in counseling. They don't want to go with me.
Yeah. Well, that may be something to address a little bit later. I think right now the focus needs to be on, because when I asked what is it that why are they not talking, you said they don't like anything I say, think, or do. That's pretty comprehensive. And I don't know where to begin with that. If I'm Jan, and I'm wanting to make some changes so that my relationship with my children are better, I can't start with everything I say, think, and do. That's way too much. That's way too overwhelming. And so maybe what could be helpful in some of these connecting calls that Becky referred to is to simply ask a question. I want to work on our relationship. I want to, and I can only work on me. Can you give me 1, 2, or 3 specific things that you would like me to work on, or you think get in the way of our relationship? Because I can't do everything I say, think, and do, but I can work on 1, 2, or 3 things. And take that then to, as Jill talked about, take that to a therapist and begin to work on those things.
I love
and
that,
as you
JJ.
do that, then you might be able to invite them into the process as you begin to do work, and they see the evidence of that. They might be more willing to join you in the process.
Well,
and the challenge there, Jan, the challenge will be to not say anything back at the point at which they tell you. Have you had that experience already?
Right. Don't do the defensive, well, that's not true because.
Exactly. I do know 2 issues that they're mainly concerned about is driving and living in my home. They want me to be like their sister that they just dealt with. And I'm not her. I'm me. And I have been declared capable and competent to drive. I participate in research studies of driving cessation and any health issue that I have. So I don't know if that helps or not.
So they're concerned for your safety and well-being.
Yeah. And Jan, there are a lot of families across the country, mine included, where we have this discussion about what is safe and what is not. And I can tell you from the other side that the anxiety that comes from wondering if you're safe is probably what's driving a lot of their reaction. So that even though you are convincing them that I'm doing what I can to be safe, to drive safe, to do that thing, their fear is kicking in these reactions. And so the meeting in the middle is going to be the challenge that you have.
Well, and it's probably heightened, as you said, because their sister just died, right? And perhaps she needed care. And here's the thing. None of your kids have ever been 88. And they don't know what it's like. And younger people tend to speed up the age of older people. and out of, like you said, Becky, out of their anxiety and their concern. So I think it's important that you hear that they're concerned about you. And these are some external things. So maybe they feel like you're stubborn or you're not seeing reality. So you can hear their concerns and say, okay, I'm going to go to a therapist and I'm going to be evaluated and I'm going to talk about those things. Right? Even if you disagree and you think, I'm fine, address their concerns. Let them know that you hear them and that you don't want them to be worried or anxious. And so you'll really look at that.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to go. Jan, hold on, and we'll get you connected with somebody in your area. And that could even be a role of a coach as well. I think where we're trying to establish connection with our families so that we don't continue the same patterns. We're so glad you called, and we know this is tough, but I think that there's some hope there, and we'll be praying for you. We're going to go to Chad, who's calling us from Clarksville, Indiana. Hi, Chad. Thanks for holding on. How can we help you today?
Yeah, I've been dealing with porn addiction since I was like 11 years old. I just feel like lately, like especially like since my the last 6 or 7 years, like I'm not getting kind of God's favor because I'm still dealing with this addiction. It's not like I believe that God's not mad at me or anything like that. I just feel like, my life, because I keep on dealing with this, I keep praying about it, is that I'm swimming upstream, if you can kind of understand that. It's just like anything I'm trying to do, like trying to better myself, it's like I'm going like 2 steps forward and 6 steps back. And I'm not trying to make excuses or anything, but like the pornography and stuff like that I go to is just like, it's like a release. It's like a drug, And what really made me call is that I overheard you guys talking about that guy that smoked since he was like 15 years old. And I was able to quit smoking when I was 20 years old, but the pornography, for some reason, is like the hardest thing I've had to try to do because it's like, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, it's on TV, movies, commercials,
right.
You name it. I mean, I'll be like on the internet and somebody be posting some girl with a thong on.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just like, give me a break.
Chad, JJ West is on today, and I think we'll start with JJ. JJ, how would you direct Chad to address this issue?
Yeah, so my first question, Chad, is what have you already done? What have you tried to do to address the porn addiction?
I've gone to therapy. I used to go to a Celebrate Recovery, but where I'm living at, I could not find one anywhere around here. I'm trying to go to SAA, which is Sexaholic Anonymous, but I'm not trying to be mean or discredit, but those people are dealing with some serious stuff. I mean, like, we're talking about, I don't want to...
we get it. We get it.
Yeah. Like, serious stuff, and it's just like... And us too, they believe in a higher power. They don't believe in, Jesus, that kind of stuff. And that's kind of like discerning. I'm not trying to judge, but at the same time, I'm just
Chad.
Like, yeah.
We get it.
Okay, so you've done some individual therapy. You've done some group work. You found sounds like you enjoyed your time in Celebrate Recovery, but don't have a local group there where you live. And it doesn't feel like a good fit. The groups that are available in your area don't feel like a good fit for you right now.
Correct.
Okay. All right. So Becky mentioned that we do offer this workshop called the Every Man's Battle Workshop. We have it in 2 forms. We have an online 1-day event, and then we also have an in-person workshop. I'm one of the presenters at the workshop. You'll get some information there in the main sessions that is presented. But one of the main values that the workshop offers is that you're in community with other men who are struggling with sexual addiction in some of them in similar ways as you. Maybe they have the porn addiction. Some of the guys may have more elaborate, colorful stories like you might have come across in some of your other groups. But we're all we're all experiencing the same struggle, which is trying to walk in integrity, but continuing to go back to these old behaviors as a way of escape, as a way to let the pressure off of life, as a way to not have to feel all of the guilt and shame that I walk around with. And so going to something like an Every Man's Battle workshop can be one of the most significant steps in the healing process, because it allows me to come out of the shadows, out of the darkness, and into the light, into where healing happens. So making a call like to the radio program today, but also going to a workshop like that can be extremely helpful, because I'm counteracting the shame that's kept me in bondage for so long. The music's playing, so we'll have to talk a little bit more on the other side of the break. But thank you so much for your call, Chad. We're going to pick it up on the other side.
Yeah, hold on, Chad, and we'll talk a little bit about the powerful connection that porn has. It's just like a lot of other addictions that we talk about here. And I don't think that people understand there is a drug-like reaction in the brain. We're glad you called. We'll be right back.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit it's addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have Christ-centered partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
I was sort of vaguely familiar that the 12 steps had some origination in the Bible. I found Life Recovery, and one of the things I liked so much was that it had such a broad appeal. It wasn't limited to just alcohol or drugs, that it was addressing a wide range of problems.
At New Life, we believe everyone can benefit from a life recovery experience. There are life recovery groups all over the country. They take place online, in conference calls, and in person. And if there isn't one in your area, we can help you start one. We have startup materials, leaders' guides, CDs, Bibles, and more, all with discounts available for groups. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE and ask for Terry Ward. The 12 Steps have long been a great help to people in recovery because much of the 12 Steps' power comes from the fact that they capture principles clearly revealed in the Bible.
The 12 Steps is really a pattern for all of us as Christians.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. You know, we talk about Every Man's Battle all the time, and obviously, JJ, you do as well, because this is, you know, you are one of the presenters. But, you know, what Chad's talking about is this lifelong addiction to porn. What does it do to the brain? I mean, you know, Chad, you may be doing your very best to let it go, but there's another obstacle you haven't encountered, really, if you're still dealing with it. JJ, what is that?
Well, I'll give you the brief snapshot of an hour and a half presentation we do at the workshop.
Great.
So whenever we're engaged sexually, whether that's looking at porn or engaged in sex with another person or any number of other acting out behaviors that we might have, there are all these chemicals that are released in our brain. There's a whole host: epinephrine and norepinephrine and vasopressin and oxytocin and dopamine and serotonin, all these chemicals that are released in our brain. I'm going to focus on just one for today: dopamine. Dopamine has a lot of things that it does to our brain, but there are two that are really important when we're talking about the impact of pornography on our brain. One thing that dopamine does is it drives satiation. In other words, it says, It says to the brain, go get satisfied. It's the same thing that happens whenever you have a taste in your mouth for your favorite food, your favorite snack food, your favorite meal. And you're like, man, I got to go get that. I got to go get that. For me, it's there's this thing that at Costco they sell called the sugar butter cinnamon loaf. And when I start getting a taste for that, it's like my truck is on an autopilot and just drives me right into the parking lot of the Costco, right? So that's dopamine affecting my brain, and it's like blinders, and it's a tunnel vision, and everything else in life just kind of ceases to matter. And in those moments, all that matters is I got to get satisfied. And so it creates this tunnel vision. So that's number one that dopamine does. Number two that dopamine does is it drives novelty, something new, something different. And this is where you see a tolerance build up. So when you first started looking at pornography at whatever age it was, I think you said around 12 or 15, something like
11.
that. 11, excuse me. So for me, I was 6. Whenever you started to look at pornography, it was probably for a few minutes at a time, every once in a while. And then over time, it built up to where you're looking at pornography for hours at a time on a daily basis, if not multiple times a day. That's dopamine as well, operating in your brain. That's creating this novelty. I need more of the same to get the same high, or I need a new type. So I venture out into other forms of pornography in order to get that same impact. Again, that's dopamine driving that in my brain. And when I continue to do this over and over and over, and I continue to, when I was 11 years old and I was feeling lonely because, Susie Q at school, who I thought was cute, and I told her that she was cute, and I wanted to sit next to her at lunch, and she rejected me. And so I feel sad, and I feel rejected, and I feel lonely. And I go to pornography because I can escape from that feeling for a little while. Mm-hmm. When I've done that over and over and over, I'm creating these like 16-lane superhighway neural pathways in my brain. And it's much easier for me to get down that pathway after I've used it over and over and over than when I first started. And so we can't get rid of the pathway. There's a short of a lobotomy or a traumatic brain injury. We can't get rid of the pathway, but what we can do is learn to develop new neural pathways. And that's some of what we would do at the workshop.
Yeah, well, and Chad, we would invite you. We're going to send you a copy of Every Man's Battle, and then we'll also get you connected with our next workshop. But I thank you, JJ, for explaining that, because that it is a legitimate addiction.
And let me just add in maybe a shorter, briefer explanation. Dopamine is the pleasure-seeking chemical, right?
Yes.
We want to feel good. We want to elevate our mood. So, JJ, what you're saying is we need to find other things, right? Other than that path that has been well-traveled. And so it's difficult at first because the other path has not been walked down.
Right.
So
it's not nearly as intense, right?
No.
There's a tremendous intensity to pornography, masturbation, illicit affairs. There's an incredible intensity to that that I'm not going to find in hopping on my kayak for a couple hours.
Right.
It's not going to be as intense, but I can learn how to develop, recalibrate my brain to respond to those smaller doses of dopamine.
Right. Because the crash is what we don't like, the shame crash.
Right.
I think we can help you, Chad. Just we hope to see you at Every Man's Battle, and introduce yourself to JJ when you attend. We're going to go to our calls, and we're going to take a call from Emily, who's calling us from Atlanta, Georgia, listens on WNIV. Hello, Emily. Thanks so much for waiting, and how can we help you today?
Well, I am just grateful for your program today, and the talk about historical wounds and the talk about wanting to do things differently totally resonates with me. My mom remarried when I was 6 years old to my stepdad, and at some point in my teens, he was diagnosed with bipolar, but he has always been verbally and emotionally abusive.
Emily, hold on. You can hear the music. I'm sorry. I want to give you full opportunity to share that. We're going to go to a break. And you're right. The history does impact our present. And so we're glad that we're able to get to your call today. We'll talk to you after this break. And, you know, it's what we love to do is to inform people, you know, to make you aware of the things that may be impacting your life. And you can get free from the pain from what has happened to you. We're going to help you when we get back.
New Life Ministries saved my completely broken marriage.
This is Steve Arterburn. Do you feel like your marriage is broken? New Life can help. Our Intimacy and Marriage Workshop examines the various types of intimacy, spiritual, emotional, and physical, as well as the challenges of experiencing true intimacy.
The next Intimacy and Marriage Workshop is July 28th to the 30th in Washington, D.C. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE to find out more or go to newlife.com. 1-800-639-5433.
Don't settle for a miserable marriage or even one that's just okay. It's possible to have that great marriage you always want.
3.5 years later, we're still going strong, and I would encourage really anybody who's struggling in their marriage to go to a New Life workshop. They are more effective than anything else we tried.
1-800-NEWLIFE.
I have given to New Life regularly because I have so many people that I am referring to New Life who so benefit from the ministry. I just can't imagine what would happen in my area if New Life wasn't available to us.
You can help New Life Live stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the new member thank you gift of all 8 100-day devotionals, including 100 Days of Prayer, 100 Days of Freedom from Depression, and 100 Days of Peace. There are also ongoing benefits like the monthly Club New Life CD or download, access to the Club New Life video library, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, discounts on workshops, and quarterly online meetings with Steve. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. We are so glad that you have joined us, and, you know, hello to our YouTube family who are so faithful in watching us. We were just getting to a call from Emily, and thank you for holding on, Emily. You had said that there was a divorce, then your stepdad was bipolar. Is that right?
So, no, my mom got my birth dad died when I was 6. My mom got remarried about 9 months later, and the husband that she has been married to for 42 years now, he has been emotionally and verbally abusive throughout the marriage, to her, to my sister, to me. But he's had some good periods where he was not this way, basically when he was medicated. But he does not do that. But in this emotional, she has left him probably 6 or 7 times. She'll move out. She'll contemplate filing divorce. She's actually filed for divorce 2 times, never gone through with it. But in the past 3 times that she has done this, she has literally escaped in the middle of the night from her house. She will come to me. I spend time, resources, energy, trying to help her get on her feet, trying to help her reestablish, trying to, talk her through it, trying to get her help. But she eventually always goes back. And when she does, she somehow he vilifies me and my husband. Somehow we become the bad guy, and she buys into it. We become estranged, or we have a very limited surface relationship until this all happens again. 2 or 3 years later, she finally admits, oh my God, this has been hell. I've been living through hell. And then I help her escape, and then we do this all over again. And so when we did it this time, a little over a year ago, my husband and I sat down with her and said, this is it. Like, we can't do this again. Like, this is our last time. And I have been going I've been going to counseling for about the past 6 years through a fabulous counselor that I found through New Life, which I appreciate you for. And I have been going to a 12-step program for about the past 9 months. And I just have got to do this differently this time. And I don't know, because now it is seeming like she is back. She's talking to him again. There's talk of like possibly we're going to move in again. So I am just, I can't do it. I really can't allow that chaos back.
It's so hard. Jill, let's start with you.
So painful, Emily. And you've so wanted to help your mom. And you're seeing and describing that abusive cycle that does happen. And how your mom goes back into denial because he starts wooing her again. And ultimately, she doesn't want to be divorced, right? And so then she buys into it. And I'm so sorry for you and your pain. And for you, those feelings, it sounds like and I'm glad you're getting help. You're recognizing perhaps your part in it is you guys jump in and you rescue her, right? And it's like, oh, okay, we got to save mom. We got to help her. We got to do all these things. And that's got to stir up your life a lot. And there's, yes. And so to realize, oh, this is just another trip around the merry-go-round. And so what does it look like, and are you talking about what stepping back looks like for you and grieving that loss because you get your mom back in those times?
Yes.
But it's not something that's enduring. It's a false sense of having her.
Right. And I mean, and on paper, she seems to be doing all the right things. Like she joined a church and she's going to a CODA group. So it's like, okay, she's doing it. But then, like, here she is back. And I know this sounds, my question is am I wrong? Am I bad to enforce this boundary? Like my struggle is literally, Romans, that I'm called to live in peace and harmony with those around me. I'm called to honor my parents. But I can't allow that chaos in my life.
Right.
Emily, it's important, though, to remember that the verse you referred to in Romans, I believe it's in Romans 12.
Yeah, 12.
It doesn't say live at peace with all people. It says, as much as it is up to you, live at peace with all people. There's a piece of that is not up to you. And God gives us that qualification for a reason, that there are ways that other people behave that prevent us from being able to live at peace with them. And there are some behaviors that your mom is engaging in that make it either difficult or possibly impossible for you to live at peace with her continuing in that behavior. Now, that being said, I do think Jill's question to you was pertinent, which is, have you and your husband discussed what does it look like for us to enforce this boundary with mom? Does it mean when she shows up at our house in the middle of the night that we don't answer the door? Or does it mean, Mom, you can stay here, but I'm not going to engage in the solution, problem solving. I'm going to help you put your whole life back together. And we're going to talk bad about my stepdad and how awful he is. And we're going to do that for a few weeks, but then you go back to him. I'm not doing that. Like two of you and your husband need to talk through, what does it look like for us to have and then enforce this boundary with mom?
Well, I have to say, I was pretty clear up front with her, and she even agreed with me. I said, she told me, she said, I'm not going back with him. I've told him that I will not go back with him until all of us, our entire family sits down and has, basically some sort of healing, and that it's going. She said it's going to take a miracle, and for that to happen. And I said, well, what? I said something about the miracle, and she said, we'll know when it happens. And I said, okay, that's fair. That's fair. And so my point to her is like, there's
Emily,
been no miracle.
Emily, you know what it sounds like? doesn't it sound like the addiction and co-addict relationship? Because you want her to get better. You want this to be better. So when she presents this, you're all in, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to help you achieve this. But like so many addictive cycles, then we are so disappointed when they relapse and we're back at it again. And that's why what JJ and Jill are talking about, you and your husband, it can't be taking the bait of whatever the promise is that she is putting out there. And that's the hardest work.
Yeah,
right. But
yeah, can I jump in for real quick?
Sure.
My question was, what does it look like for you and your husband to maintain and enforce this boundary? Not what does mom need to do differently, or what does stepdad need to do differently? I'm asking you, what does it look like for the two of you? Right? So that's, you got to focus the attention on how am I going to behave differently, because I have no control over what mom does or doesn't do.
Right. And that boundary doesn't mean that you have no relationship with mom, like JJ was saying, right? And you said you're involved in 12-step groups. It's the idea of that healthy detachment. You're still there. You just you're not the tail end of their kite, or of your mom's kite anymore, right? And maybe it's that you have a list of resources and she's in crisis. Here you go, Mom. Here's the places you can call. And you don't jump into doing it for her anymore.
Yeah. And you're going to be sad, Emily, when you have to make those choices. And I think that's the hard part about setting boundaries or getting out of the codependent cycle, is we're surprised that it doesn't feel good. It's, it surprises us because they don't do what we want them to do. And then we don't have the reassurance that it's a good plan. Emily, we're going to send you a copy of Take Your Life Back. I'm glad that you have a counselor and that it's working, but that's going to be your next step, will be, how do I have that healthy detachment, like what Jill's talking about? Someone who I am not healthy detached from, or maybe I am, I don't know.
You're trying to get there, but
yes, I am trying to get there. That's right. Larry Sonnenberg has joined us in the studio. No, I'm just teasing. We just love you, Larry. What do you have to share with us today? We got music coming.
Well, let me see what I can get in here before you.
Okay.
A counselor in our network sent a note. She had a call from a former client, and prior to seeing that client, the newlywed daughter of that client and her husband were having severe marital problems and came to see this couple. But they left her abruptly when she identified the husband's sexual addiction and told him he needed to attend every man's battle. And so that client called today and said, by the way, you saved their marriage. She said, what do you mean? Well, he couldn't handle my advice then, but he did go to every man's battle. And it changed his life.
Love it.
They're in counseling, they've got a child, and she's so grateful. So that's why we need you folks to give. Yeah.
We love it. Thank you.
It had become very apparent that some of the things I was involved with were taking over my life.
In today's world, men are barraged with inappropriate content and images all day, every day. Some say that certain behaviors are just no big deal. It's just part of being a guy. But it's simply not true. It's a battleground for every man, and the opportunities to fail are everywhere. New Life's Every Man's Battle Workshop can help.
After 7 years, just one weekend, a completely changed man.
For over 20 years, New Life Ministries has been helping men regain their integrity and purity through their one-of-a-kind Every Man's Battle Workshop.
He said, I think this is something that every man should go to. Married, dating, it was definitely life-changing.
The Every Man's Battle Workshop is being held online as a one-day event Saturday, May 13th. To find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go to newlife.com.
I just can't say enough of what New Life has done for our marriage.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for over 34 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
I'm an addict, and I'm trying to get God in my life again.
Our Christ-centered treatment programs can help you break free to embrace all that God has for your life and your family.
I just want to thank you guys for bringing me to a relationship with Jesus.
There really is help for marital problems, depression, addictions, panic attacks, and feelings of hopelessness.
I came back with so many tools to help me prepare myself to fight this struggle and this battle that I have every day.
You can start living again today, living the life God intended for you. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
They did care, and they did follow up very lovingly, and it made all the difference in my life.
Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Someone who cares is waiting at the other end of the phone. God can open the door to a better tomorrow. Call 1-800-639-5433.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. I was so rude and cut Larry off with a commercial break, but Larry, you're allowed to continue with what you were talking about, and then we're going to go to Mike.
Okay. Well, I wanted to say to JJ, thank you for what you do every month.
Yes.
You have no idea how many people are affected by that ministry, and you're a key part of that. And it was just so. This lady didn't even know. She counseled the people and had no idea her counsel made any difference at all. But the guy got bad enough that he said, "Yeah, I'm going to go." But folks, I just want to say thank you for supporting New Life. It's a big need right now. I don't have time to tell you how big, but it's important. So would you please make a gift in support of New Life? It will be helpful to not just New Life. It's going to be helpful to people who need to see what God has in store for them, a different life, a different way. And you'll make the difference with that first step of giving. So thank you.
That's right. And for a gift of any amount this month, we just got a couple days left, we'll send you a copy of Dr. Henry Cloud's book called Trust. And you can give by calling 1-800-NEW-LIFE, or you can go to newlife.com. Thanks, Larry.
Hey.
We're going to go to Mike, who is calling us from Annapolis, Maryland, listens on WAVA. Hi, Mike. I'm so glad you called, and thanks for hanging on. How can we help you today?
How are you guys doing? Thank you for taking my call.
Good.
I'm newly married a couple years. I finally found my dream Christian woman, literally all I've been looking for years. I thought I'd never get married again. And 20 years later, I met her, and we were married in a month. We both pretty much felt the same way, and everything's been going really good since, except I'm starting to have jealousy issues, pretty extreme jealousy, trust issues. So I'm a very touchy-feely. I love to feel appreciated. I like hugs, and, I'm just very touchy-feely, and she's just the opposite, which makes it very difficult for me to feel like appreciated and loved. And I know she's doing her best to try to fill those shoes, and I know it's difficult for her because she's very tough girl, but she is very loving. But it seems like every couple of weeks now, I start to feel like she's not interested, and I begin to feel completely insecure. And I've been a professional trainer for over 35 years now, so we spend a lot of time in the gym, and of course, I pick up on cues like she's looking at somebody else, and then immediately I start feeling uncomfortable, and, I start feeling that little angry burn in my chest. That's what I want to notice. And she tells me, well, first of all, I don't say anything for a couple of days after it's built up, which I shouldn't do. I shouldn't wait and say something, but I feel like we're going to get into a big argument, and until it builds up enough that I have to say something. Mm-hmm. And then once I do that, it's a huge argument, and it's days that it takes for her to recover from it. And, she's pretty much had it up to here. And she's a good Christian. She's like, I'm not quick to divorce, but something needs to be done. Mm. And I'm trying to figure out what's going on with me. I'm sure it's a me issue. And I haven't really had this with anybody else, but I'm very overprotective of this marriage. And I told her, I said, I think I'm overprotective because of my last marriage.
Okay.
And,
Were there issues there, Mike, in the last marriage that you've brought into this one? Because that's usually what happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, how were you hurt?
That's definitely an issue.
Okay. So could it be that you're putting
my
on... Sorry, you're putting on the new wife things that old wife did?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's part of it.
Okay.
I think it goes way back, also into my younger years.
Yes.
Because, so here's the kicker: is I dated her sister, who was 14, who constantly broke my heart.
When you
I
were
was a young
younger,
kid.
obviously, Mike. Yeah.
Current wife's sister? Current wife's sister?
My current wife's sister. My current wife is 10 years younger than I am. That's another insecurity that I'm having now.
Okay, so listen, Mike, we've only got a few minutes left before the end of the program. So I want to give you some direction. JJ or Jill, let's give him, I would definitely want you guys to come to the Intimacy and Marriage Workshop that's going to be right there in DC, and we can, work with you there. But what are some 1, 2, 3 kind of things to get Mike in the right direction?
Okay.
So I go ahead, Jill.
Well, Mike,
go ahead.
I think definitely the Intimacy and Marriage Workshop, because that's your best jump start. Okay. And we also have a book, 10 Things Not to Do in Marriage. I believe that's the title of it. We need to send you that book. The jealousy thing, you're wanting something. You're wanting security, but you're going about it in a way that actually gives you less of what you want. And so the problem is here, you're feeling disconnected at those times when you're getting triggered. So you want to bring that into relationship and find ways to connect with your wife, not accuse her, not, bring up all of these narratives that are probably mostly in your head, but are based in you feeling like somehow you're not enough. And so those are issues that are important for you to work on for yourself. Go ahead, JJ.
Yeah, I just want to build on that. I was I was thinking the same question, Jill, of there's something in the story that, because anytime someone is dealing with a high level of jealousy, it's either they've been hurt before, they've been cheated on, lied to before, and or they have also been one to cheat, be unfaithful, and so they're projecting either the pain from the previous relationship onto the new relationship, or they're projecting their own behavior onto the relationship. And so there is a lot in your story, Mike, that leads me to believe that you've been told from a number of different perspectives that you're not enough. The first marriage, there was some infidelity there that told you weren't enough.
And the sister.
Something with the sister tells you that you're not enough. I don't know that this is true because I don't know you well enough, Mike, but I would wonder if even your chosen profession and being so into developing your body is a way to get people to say you're enough, you're valid enough, you're worth it, you have value. And none of those things, getting with the right, getting with the perfect person as you described your wife, building my body, having the great job, having the money, none of that is going to be enough to convince me that I'm enough if I don't believe it on the inside. And so there's going to be some work that you have to do that's going to maybe be in individual counseling, that may be in couples counseling, that may be at the Intimacy and Marriage Workshop, where you start to uncover what are the lies that have been told to you throughout your life that have convinced you that you're not enough.
That's very good. Well, and so, Mike, we're going to send you a copy of How We Love, which is a lot of the information that you just heard from Jill and JJ. And I want to encourage you and your wife to join us at the Intimacy and Marriage Workshop in DC in July. It could be the thing that gets you guys in a right direction. You're, like you said, you're newly married. You've got many years ahead of you that can be amazing. It is never just one thing that changes everything, but it's never just one thing that's the problem either, right? So we got to get curious about that. Thank you, Jill, and thank you, JJ. Thank you, callers. If you need any help, you can call us, 1-800-NEW-LIFE, or you can go to newlife.com. We've got lots of great resources, and we hope that we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again on Monday for New Life Live.
Hi, thank you for watching New Life Live. You know, New Life Live is a Christian counseling program where we deal with the hard questions about life, relationships, kids, free choice, freedom of will, whatever. It's all right there on New Life Live every day, every weekday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. If you want to call into the live broadcast, you can find the schedule on newlife.com or click the social media link right below. You can see every episode of New Life Live on the New Life YouTube channel. Watch it with a friend, watch it later. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you'll never miss another episode. So if you want to listen on the go, download the app. The link is right below. And I hope if you need some information, if you want to get some help, you'll call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. And I'll see you next time.